Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music.
Alright, we are back here on another episode of Podmaker.
What up? We're here to make peace by any means necessary.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're here for. To talk about Peacemaker, Season 2, Episode 4. It's called something about a door. What's the door? Episode is titled Need I Say Door?
Need I say door?
Written by James Gunn. I think he was writing every episode this season. And directed by Peter Solid. Great indie director. If you've seen Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, he directed that movie back in the day. He also directed this indie film, like Vengeance or something. It was like about this Mexican guy, something. It's a great indie film. Anyway, he's also has a very seasoned TV background, and he's directing this episode. So it's a great episode. But first of all, before we get into the episode, want to shout out Cade. What's up with you? How's your week been?
It's been a good week. I just submitted our feature film to South by Southwest, so very exciting to have that in the works. And just one step closer to the First Cut listeners being able to watch it. Not sure when, but maybe it's South by Southwest. Other than that, it's been a good week. I have just been sort of taking in the news. No particular news, but it's been a pretty crazy social media week on news, and a very political one too, and kind of tying into a little bit of what we were talking about last week with the
fools getting shot in the neck. Oh,
right.
Yeah, how they took out Peacemaker and Suicide Squad.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Something like that. But we don't need to bog down the Podmaker podcast with all that noise, because we're here to make peace by any means necessary.
Yeah, it's peace to the world, peace to the Eagles. There's a lot of threats, a lot of through lines, a lot of things to break down this episode. So yeah, we could just start jumping right into it.
That opening scene was very cinematic and such a great way to set the tone for this episode. First of all, they killed Dobby in the woods, which I was pretty upset about. Dobby, the house elf, looked like from Harry Potter. But I was like, damn, why'd they have to kill that alien? Like, you know what I mean? And just harkens back to the entire season 1 flashback arc of Chris, Keith, and the evil dad. And it was kind of nice to have that sort of season 1 vibe back for a minute. And then they have that incredible shot of the portal door in the middle of the woods, which was just like so aesthetically cool and pleasing to look at. And what did you think about that opening scene?
Well, yeah. Going into that opening scene, we have the first of all, the flashback is set 35 years prior, which is interesting detail because that actually confirms that aliens have contacted this DCU earlier than Superman. Superman, we saw, was introduced 30 years ago, according to the opening titles of Superman. This flashback happened before that, seemingly. So very interesting to see that Earth had multiple alien encounters happening, during this time period.
I thought the Superman opening thing was 3 years.
Well, it said, Superman himself was introduced to the world 3 years prior. His ship had landed on Earth 30 years prior. So Superman grew up on Earth, as per the canal, canon, whatever. He grew up as a kid,
being raised in what's
Kansas,
it called? Small town, yeah.
Yeah, small town USA, something like that. Yeah, Smallville, being raised there and all that. So yeah, it's an interesting detail. Yeah, the alien was freaky. Seeing the kind of trail of blood, the entrails that was leaking out of it, kind of like this weird cosmic fabric type of situation. and it's a crazy way to open it. For one, it kind of goes into what we was talking about before, right? How my personal theory was that the father had invented the quantum unfolding chamber as, working with like Lex Luthor or Lex Luthor's family back in the day. Clearly, that theory is completely wrong. We see that the portal was actually created by aliens, from another Earth, another dimension, or
Yeah,
whatever.
and they even
And then they're
addressed
here.
that narrative with Adebayo, where she's like, "I thought your dad was some super genius," and he's like, "No, he just killed this alien in the woods," which I thought was such a great way to dispel the idea that his dad was some high IQ Tony Stark esque evil guy, because from everything else we've seen of him, he is not the brightest bulb in the barrel. But one thing I noticed right off the bat in that opening scene is that the little machine, the thing that he was holding, that they're carrying throughout the entire episode, it kind of resembled Peacemaker's helmet to me a little bit. And I guess they'll maybe get into how those helmets were made. Chris says, quote, "It's complicated." So I have a feeling it has something to do with the quantum realm, the pocket universe. But yeah, who knows? It was very interesting to see the technology behind all of it and how all you really need is a door.
Yeah, no, it's crazy to see it. The origins of it is interesting to see how that through line is reintroduced later on in the series, or later on in this episode. And I honestly later on in the series too, because clearly it's the same kind of technology that Lex is using,
Yeah.
a much improved version of it. But yeah, so we get that opening, of course, intro, never skip intro gang here at First Cut, at least me. And
I
then
didn't
we
skip this week. I had to watch. I'm the first of all, the intro song is growing on me. I do really like it now, and I'm not skipping anymore. It's just such a treat.
I never skip because I like the song, and now every week it's becoming more apparent to me that the dance number is actually revealing plot details. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
Because if you notice the groupings of the people when they're dancing, we have, the regular dimension people,
Hmm.
Amelia, Bio in one group. We have the alternate dimension people, so another version of Amelia in that group with, White Dragon and all those other dudes. We have the Argus side of the equation with the great Tim Meadows and Frank Grillo and all of those guys. And one thing that people have pointed out online, granted, I saw somebody else point this out, but when alternate dimension Amelia Harcourt and the other people, White Dragon and the Keith, are doing a dance, they kind of almost throw up like a little swastika kind of looking kind of dance
Really?
move in there for a quick second. It's like real quick, but now that I'm kind of seeing like, these pairings are intentional, and it's clearly saying something about the plot. You know, I don't know. I could kind of see that, and if that's true, then that makes me think about what happens at the end of the dance sequence where all the bodies are just piled on top of each
Our
other.
pile, yes, that's something I did clock in the intro, is that it looks like they're all piled up almost like they're dead bodies. So I will definitely be interested to see if that's alluding to something or just some sort of interpretive dance.
Yeah.
But from what you're saying, it sounds like there's a lot more meaning behind the choreography.
Hey, look. Hey, I know Gunn is a big dancing guy. We saw Guardians 1. We see what dancing means to Chris Pratt and Star Lord and all that. So yeah, it could mean a lot here too. So
Yeah, and speaking of James Gunn, there was a big interview with him on Howard Stern this week. I saw some clips here and there where he's talking about one thing that kind of blew my mind was he's talking about how John Cena wasn't his first pick to play Peacemaker and how he originally offered the role to Dave Batista first. And I don't know, what are you thinking about that? Cuz I personally, obviously in the world of casting, you get what you get, and it kind of informs the entire opinion of the show. But I couldn't see anybody else playing Peacemaker other than John Cena. He strikes that comedic balance, that action hero balance so well. And I think that's just like an intrinsic part of kind of who he is and what he brings to the role. I don't know that John Batista would have nailed this as well as John Cena. But it is interesting. Sorry, Dave Batista. It is interesting that James Gunn brought that up and talked about it.
Yeah, no, that is a crazy alternate reality, right? And Dave Bautista's definitely, I'll say right now at least, a much better dramatic actor than John Cena is at the moment. John Cena is getting better, like especially we see in this season has a lot more dramatic weight he got to carry. But for the first Suicide Squad movie, I can definitely see Dave Bautista and Idris Elba kind of like battle of wits going on. Like I could see that dynamic in that movie. The ultimate Chris Smith / Peacemaker that we get to know through the show, and especially through season 1 and season 2, I don't see. You're right. I don't see anybody else but John Cena playing that version of that character. Just because it's like if it's Dave Bautista as an antagonist, as like a one movie antagonist, he's great in that. We saw him do that in James Bond. We saw him do that in a bunch of franchises. But Dave Bautista as like, this guy, and also, of course, it would have to be a different show, right? Because Dave Bautista's not like white, so like the whole like father being a KKK member would kind of have to be completely different, right? But yeah, no, I like John Cena, man. I think in the ranking of wrestlers turned actors, I definitely say Batista is still number one. People hate putting The Rock high on the list. I still say The Rock is number 2 in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? He has a bevy of work, but John Cena is right underneath him, and I think all three. I think John Cena is really most perfect for this role right here.
Yeah, and also, I don't know if you saw that movie he was in with Idris Elba called Heads of State. Yeah, I thought he killed that performance too, and I'm really enjoying the Cena cinematic universe that we're getting in 2025. I'm enjoying it, and it's just nice to see it come back into Peacemaker as well.
The Cena cinematic universe, and also I want to shout out Sarah Niles from Ted Lasso, who was in that movie Head of State. She was also in Fantastic Four, First Steps. She was also in F1, the movie. And then she was also in some other TV show I saw this year too. So she was in 4 major things this year. I feel like Sarah Niles from Ted Lasso. Shout out to her. She's really killing it. So
yeah, she's an amazing layered performer, and I think she can bring some groundedness to any series, like even a superhero series.
Yeah, Fantastic
Four.
Yeah, and she brought that. But speaking to the grounded world of DCU, we get back into Argus. You know what I'm saying? We seeing Argus starting to really track down Chris, really honing in. Economos is torn. He's split. He's having this crisis. Do I help my best friend? Do I keep my job?
You mean Ginger Cool?
Ginger Cool. We got more Tim Meadows. I love that we got more Tim Meadows in this episode.
Yeah.
I think this episode is really actually one of the funniest episodes, honestly. What do you think?
I agree. Yeah, and Sol Rodriguez playing that Argus agent, the way that she reprimands Economos and the whole dynamic between her and Tim Meadows and Economos, it's playing out so well, and it's like it's in the midst of in a way, like the way they're hunting him, this is an anxiety watch for me in a way. I'm on edge. I don't want them to necessarily catch Chris, hunt him down, kill Eagly, protect Eagly at all costs. And so in the midst of all of that anxiety that I'm feeling watching these episodes, it's really nice to see that they're bringing those kind of sidebar comedic group dynamics back in the truck as they're pulling up. The way that we got those group dynamics where they're all kind of hating on each other in the back of the truck with the original 11th Street Kids, we're getting that same sort of feel with the Argus group in the way that they all low-key can't stand each other, especially bringing back the Green Goblin dude in the way that he's the way that, you know, he's calling out Economos for the way that he can't take him on.
Yeah, he's calling out Economos for ramming him with his car in season 1. He's also getting ragged on by Red Saints Wild, who is the eagle hunting cultural appropriator from played by Michael Rooker.
Yeah, Captain Cultural Appropriation.
Yeah, Captain, exactly. And yeah, he's appropriating some of that Native American culture. He also brings up some very old school Asian slurs that I was like, whoa, we're saying that in 2025. Like, he said it a few times. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy because it's like, I almost felt like Economos and Judo Master were going to team up against this dude for a second, like, to take him out.
Yeah, and I feel like the writing gets away with it for comedic purposes, but also because they actively call out the fact that this guy is outdated, is Captain Cultural Appropriation, and it's like an archetype of a character that works well because they're calling out, oh, he's problematic in all these different ways. So it's in a way hard to watch, but it's also beautiful cringe at the same time.
It's beautiful cringe, and it to me personally, it makes it all the more satisfying when Economos pushes Hobie down and he hits his head on the rock. It's like, yo.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you had that coming. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I thought he was dead in that moment. I thought, dang, he kind of almost killed him off like that. But
me too. There's so many things working against this character from an audience perspective. Like, he's hunting our favorite character, Eagly. He's extremely problematic, and I'd say almost as racist as Chris's dad in a way where they're playing on that too. And he does kind of hit everyone in different ways. Like, he calls Economos Hagrid, which made me laugh out loud. Because, I mean, there's so many different ways we see people rag on Economos throughout the entire series. Mm-hmm. You know, in season 1, it was Chris, and now it's, it's Tim Meadows, and then now it's Michael Rooker, and he just can't catch a break.
I love seeing that clowning on him. I think this is honestly Economos. I think his name is Steve. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, I'm being honest with you. I know he co-hosts that podcast, the Peacemaker Recap, with James Gunn and Jennifer Holland, whatever, gosh, I'm getting all the names wrong. But anyway, they do that, and I guess him and James Gunn have just been friends for like a super long time. Like, he's not even, I don't even think he really acts that much like outside of James Gunn like movies. But he like really brought a fun, like he really honestly brings a really funny, but also very honest perspective to his character. Like when he's talking to Soul and she's like, I don't have to I'm not paid to put up with your, and then he's like, actually you are, because even though my mental deficiencies, I still bring a lot of talent to the team. It's like, like any other actor saying that, I don't know if it would have came off right, but just the way he said it in that moment was just hilarious. Like,
yeah, he's a comedian through and through. And that moment made me wonder, Rob, do you get paid to deal with my social deficiencies?
No, well, we're not getting paid at all. So it's okay. we're just here having fun. But yeah, they having fun with each other's mental deficiencies. But yeah, no. So then we see that happen. We see Chris pretty much escape right on time thanks to homie Stalin.
Yeah, literally right down to the second.
Yeah, that was a crazy setup situation. What did you think of that whole, Adebayo, driving out to the woods, to the cabin, helping him out? That whole conversation that they have about the sticking in the one world versus the other world, grass is always greener. What was your whole thoughts on that?
I appreciated how Adebayo was kind of really questioning whether this was just a grief projection or something that was really happening. And then also the roast of the outfit, calling back to the last episode
Oh, yeah.
with the other dimension, Chris's closet being kind of questionable, and how that's playing into this universe too. And um, I also just really love their dynamic as friends because they're both outsiders at this point, and they kind of only really have each other left. You know, Harcourt is out, kind of out getting beat up, doing her own thing. Economos is with Argus. Um, so it's nice to see. I love their scenes together because I think they just have a really good chemistry as performers, as actors, but then also the characters too. They complement each other really well.
Yeah, they complement each other great. I love seeing their dynamic and their friendship. I love Adebayo, of course. Part of me does fear, I'm a cynic, so I watch some of these things. I'm like, I don't know what they're setting up here. A lot of times when we see a character who is so super nice, super kind, really almost doesn't really have that many flaws, like Adebayo, right?
Yeah.
Something in the back of my brain just scratches. I don't know if she's surviving this season. Like I don't know. I
Ooh.
think this is gonna be something that I think there's gonna be something tragic that happens here. I think especially since we know how much of a factor she is to the team and to the group, how much that would impact everybody on that. I think they would also highlight how little we've seen of Viola Davis's, Amanda Waller, who was from Suicide Squad and from Peacemaker season 1. I feel like just in the same way that Rick Flag Sr. is dealing with Rick Flag Jr. not being there, I feel like we might see another thing like that happen with Amanda Waller.
And it's
Um,
interesting you say that too, because when they're finally opening the portal and they're talking about, are you going in there or not? I was getting anxiety thinking about Adebayo going into that universe because, like we were discussing last week, there are no people of color in that town, and maybe it is some sort of white supremacist area, or racist area, and the idea that maybe that's going to put her in danger. And Chris is talking about how perfect and amazing the universe is to her, and he's seemingly completely ignorant to the fact of that, and how those implications might play out if she were to join him and go there. And again, she's not present in that universe. We haven't seen any mention of her, which means that most likely Viola Davis was never the head of Argus, and this and that, and you could kind of spiral down that rabbit hole. But I wanted to get your thoughts on the fight scene too between Kung Fu Bulbasaur and Chris in the woods, because
oh yeah.
I love seeing Kung Fu Bulbasaur in the series because he's so funny, but at the same time, I hate seeing him going up against Chris because I know how good of a fighter he is,
Yeah.
and he's really like maybe one of the pieces of kryptonite against Peacemaker is his
his ju- his judo mastery,
yeah.
is all of that. He brings that. He does a really good job with that. Yeah, I think it's funny. Somebody as big and as bulging as John Cena, right? And, big wrestler. I think he's what, like six something, 6'2", 6'3" in real life. Huge dude versus somebody who's smaller, more agile, more flexible. It is kind of an interesting fight, and I love how Judo Master somehow always almost comes out on top. Uh, I,
Oh,
I
almost.
yeah,
Yeah.
almost. I mean, I think just for the pure, I think just only because there was so much at stake for Chris and so much motivating him, he barely overcame that battle. And honestly, he threw down a couple wrestling moves, right? Like a bunch of like flips over the back, like da da da. I'm like, oh shoot, this is kind of doing something right now. But yeah, it's a different. They're different styles, and I like seeing those styles go back and forth. But I honestly kind of root for Judo Master a little bit, like in some of those sequences too, because I'm like, we see Peacemaker take down so many goons easily, like the way he did last episode, and like Peacemaker season 1 and all. Like I like seeing him have a little bit of that challenge, and yeah, Judo
Yeah.
Master brings that.
Yeah, that's why I get worried when he shows up because I know that he's gonna bring the heat. Like he's almost one of the best fighters, on-screen fighters I've seen in any superhero show or movie. Just in terms of like not having an actual superpower or ability, just the the judo mind, you know.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, no, indeed, indeed. Yeah, he. It's fun to see Judo Master Rip Jagger getting it done, and we see that action sequence. Of course, we pick up with another great fight scene that Amelia Harcourt has with another random dude in the bar. She and like so stylistically so well done. Again, shout out to director Peter Solid. Just a quick little fight scene. It couldn't have been more than like 45 seconds, but just the way it was like stylized at the slow motion, the teeth getting knocked out, like that was dope.
Yeah, she's keeping those skills sharp. It's like a free training course wherever she goes.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
yeah.
And
One thing before we get on to the rest of the episode, when they finally unlock the door in Chris's house,
mhm.
and it's revealed that this room is just a closet, it had me wondering, like, does that mean that all of those clothes in that closet were completely inaccessible for the entire time that portal was there? You know what I mean? Like, those clothes
True.
were just like chilling in there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, true, true, true. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that was crazy. Where did those clothes go? He could at least cleared out the closet before he decides to put a whole quantum thing in there.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
fashion, I guess, isn't a part of really this dimension Chris's MO, as we've seen.
yeah, no, indeed, indeed. It's crazy. It's crazy to see that, but it was also crazy seeing the transition of the door happen again. That whole like sucking everything in and then exploding back out, almost again, kind of like almost creating a mini black hole.
That sequence of the leaves and the furniture getting sucked into the door was like one of the top VFX visual moments, I think, of the season so far. It was like just really cool to see.
Yeah, yeah, no, it was really cool, and it is again, very interesting seeing the difference between the unstable, kind of rough, human-made technology that Lex Luthor was working with in Superman versus this like very more elevated alien tech that we have here, and the door in the dimension looking so much cleaner and everything than like how it was in Superman. It's like okay, like they very much thought about the logic of the lore. So
Yeah, that alien tech was the blueprint for sure, and
yeah,
like tried to.
that alien tech is different. Amelia Harcourt is going through her stuff. Rick Flag Jr. comes in and offers her sign to deal with the devil.
Mm.
Either you gotta choose going after Peacemaker, or continue being on the government blacklist or black booked for the rest of her career.
It pissed
Uh,
me off, dude.
yeah, tough choices. It's very. I love how everybody in this season is kind of dealing with that kind of choice, right? Economos, hardcore. I'm sure other characters are kind of gonna be faced with that question very soon. So yeah, like it's kind of heartbreaking to see. But what were your thoughts on that scene?
My initial thought was, is it just me or does Rick Flag Sr. look really young? Like, I don't know if he's also doing the box dye like Economos on his hair, but I'm thinking like, okay, Rick Flag Jr. had to like at least be what, like 30?
Right.
And Rick Flag Sr. looks like he's early 40s. Like, I mean, people can have kids at whatever age, but to me, it just like, I don't know. It was just something that bumps for me every time I see him. I'm like, this guy looks like he's about the same age as like Hardcore or Chris or like, I don't know. But beyond the aesthetics of his character's appearance, that scene was just like, again, it just kind of pissed me off because, like she says, she literally helped save the world from an alien invasion and got blacklisted and now is being gaslit into having to hunt down somebody who she's kind of besties with. We even see that framed picture on the wall of them in the back of the truck from season 1. And it's like, as much as she wants to deny it, she does have a connection with Chris that spans even dimensions. And even though, we get the reveal that she was dating Rick Flag Jr. before Peacemaker killed him, she's kind of like seemingly got over that in a way. And it's like there's, in the way that like the dimensional portal is like kind of setting back Chris's character development, the way that Rick Flag Senior's playing with her head and her career and her money is kind of setting back her character development too. And it's like you said, the tough choices. But I feel like above all, like, that is her character. She is an agent. That's her identity. She even, goes beats people up in bars to like keep herself sharp and trained, and that's kind of what her purpose is and what keeps her going. So I could see her folding to that, But what do you think? Do you see her betraying Chris, or how do you think that'll play out?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's like you said. That's what she's built to do. That's what she's meant to do. Speaking to the age gap situation that you're talking about, I had to Google it myself during the episode, and I had to Google it again just now to also triple confirm. Frank Grillo is 60 years of age. Who's Rick Flag Sr., and then Rick Flag Jr. is 45. Joe Ketterman is 45. I'm sure their characters, they'll probably say their characters are like late 30s versus like early 60s or something like that, to kind of make a little bit more sense of that. And then that's kind of that is, they do look very similar in age when you like take a picture of them right next to each other. And then of course people watch Creature Commandos. You saw obviously Rick Flag Sr. had that gray hair, that almost kind of James Gunn looking hair that he had in that cartoon. Apparently Frank Grillo had another acting job that was filming around the same time as Peacemaker season 2. So he was going to do the white hair look from Creature Commandos, but he just couldn't dye his hair for like a job thing.
Damn, so that is T. Okay.
Yeah, so that actually explains. That to me is a little bit of like, dang, I wish I would have like had it, either fix the cartoon or, put a fake wig on him or something to kind of do it. But I get it. You want to keep
I mean, it's not like a big thing. It's just,
yeah,
it makes me kind of like think of his character differently. Like, is this guy superficial where he's like, there's a thing where like as men age, their hair grays and they dye it if they're insecure about it. And so it makes me kind of think about that side of his character too.
That makes sense. That makes sense though.
Another small detail I loved in this episode, they were talking about Adebayo's security service in the magazine. And Chris is saying, he's describing the kind of people who buy that magazine. And I'm so concerned. Like, I'm so concerned about these people who are buying this pro soldier magazine. Like,
I'm like, well, for one, my first thought is I bet Vigilante's like one of those 12 subscribers. I bet Vigilante's one of them.
No, literally.
Yeah, that was a crazy detail. Yeah, you see like literally buy guns. Like every single ad in that was just like guns. Like that was a crazy detail. Another crazy detail, Rick Flag Jr., he mentions in that conversation with Amelia Harcourt that his back was broken, or he had his back broke, before. Again, another callback to Creature Commandos when he had a fight, I think it was with Clayface, and then, his back had got knocked out. So again, more just little ways to tie everything together, and just like do little hints of dialogue. I like it. But yeah, I like how this episode ended on a little bit of a cliffhanger. It was a little short, wasn't it? Like it was kind of, yeah. I was like, man, like,
yeah. And I did not have Michael Rooker dressed in Native American garb dancing around a fire on my Peacemaker season 2 bucket list. And then also, does this dude actually have superpowers? Like, I know we have Captain America, but is this dude actually Captain Cultural Appropriation? Because the way that he astral projects, I'm like, it was a really cool reveal, but I don't know, it might just be my social deficiencies, but I was having trouble discerning whether or not this was like a metaphysical like trance he was in, or if this is like actually superpowers. What was your take on that?
That was something I was very curious about too. Honestly, I'm trying to figure that out myself. I saw somebody on Reddit and in the YouTube comments say that that dance is actually a real like Native American sacred dance of some sort. So they did base it off of something kind of real. Does he actually have powers? I don't know, but it would be kind of funny. It would be kind of funny if he really was this
Yeah.
like super connected, spiritual Native American guy. Hey, I don't know. I don't know.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 1/16th Cherokee really going crazy. Um,
Right. Yeah,
but yeah,
crazy way.
also I was thinking, the way he was talking about his third eye had opened when he fell on the rock, like maybe that is just sort of a metaphysical spiritual thing that he's doing, but
Oh, yeah,
he
maybe
also
you're right. Maybe it is just some sort of mental delusion that he's going through. Like he just completely is just delusional. Like maybe it's brain damage. It can
maybe.
also kind of be that too.
Right, it could be just brain damage, but also the way that they did the VFX and like the accuracy of like nailing down where Eagly was, it felt
Yeah,
like something deeper.
yeah,
Um, but I don't know, maybe they'll resolve that next episode or something.
yeah.
Um,
If there's anything we learned this week is that witches are real. At least the SC witches that Jezebel magazine had ordered. So we definitely know that there's something going on out there in the world, and yeah. So that's pretty much the end of the episode. I did want to me. I like to bring my special questions at the end of our breakdowns. Cade, unless wait, is there more that you want to say about the episode or?
no, that's pretty much it. Just one last thing on the cliffhanger. I don't know how you felt, but the way that they made the action continuous, but they shifted from night to day kind of bumps for me a little bit. I mean,
Mm,
obviously, like part of this podcast is talking about the cinematic pieces of the filmmaking too.
right,
And for me, it's like they have hardcore like driving, like she gets in the car at night, then all of a sudden it's morning. Then they
right,
have like him astral projecting at night, then it's morning. And at
right.
least it matched up, but I was also like, is this really like 5 a.m. dawn, dusk? Like it's a very granular thing, but is that something that bumped for you too, or did it make sense?
Now that did bump a little bit. That definitely was like I kind of did peep that. I was guessing that was just like maybe it's just showing that this is an overnight thing, like and then kind of just going back and forth between each character's perspective of it. I guess
Yeah, I guess it could just be a long day.
yeah, long day, long night, yeah, something like that. But yeah, very that was a little interesting to me. But yeah, and I think the fact that they kind of set up like, okay, we have to go here, like we're about to go here, and then we have, I always, me personally, I don't know if other TV watchers do this. Whenever they set up something like that, I always look at the time, like, okay, how much time? Okay, we got about 5 minutes. Okay, that's another scene. Like we might see it happen. Like and I
Right,
saw that,
yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's just a really long montage. Like, okay, all right. I guess we will have to wait until next episode. Which is cool. I respect it. Keep me on the edge, just weekly. Just keep me on the hook. But that brings me to my question of the week, which is this week is Emmy's week. The Emmys are tomorrow. By the time this episode drops, tomorrow being Sunday, and of course we have here on First Cut, we are team the studio for best comedy. We are team Severance for best drama, and I like Penguin and I like Adolescence. It could go for either one of those for best miniseries. They're both amazing.
Mm.
Um, but my question to you is, Cade, if you were if you were in the Emmy governing body, and Peacemaker season 2 comes across your desk, are you categorizing this show as a comedy in the best comedy category or in the best drama category?
Oh, definitely comedy. I mean, this is one of the funniest shows of the past year or two, in my opinion. Uh, I don't know. I think it deserves a spot next to the studio, but for me, the studio would definitely still sweep that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Might be a controversial take, but
Yeah.
also, the studio's notorious for having cameos. I would absolutely love to see a James Gunn cameo like he did in Rick and Morty. Have a
Yeah.
James Gunn cameo in the studio. I would love to see that next year.
I can see that. I can see that. I can see that. It's funny, you know, in the Academy rule or the TV Academy rules or eligibility rules, you have to say the dramas are usually about 30 minutes. Or sorry, comedies are usually about 30 minutes. Dramas are usually about an hour. Of course, there are exceptions. Ted Lasso, the last season of Ted Lasso, each episode was about an average of 47 minutes. Orange is the New Black. All of those episodes were about 50 minutes. And of course, Peacemaker leans a little bit shorter. Each of these episodes are about 35, 40 minutes.
Were they saying Orange is the New Black is a comedy?
Yeah, that wasn't the comedy category. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I do think this is a definitely should be in the comedy category. It is a comedy for sure. I personally can also see it in drama category though, only because of how much action there is, how much more elevated. Usually, you know, it's a stereotype in comedy, right? Like comedies are usually supposed to be low budget, network, you know what I'm saying? Like type of something like The Bear or Abbott Elementary, something very accessible. This show is definitely much more niche. It's much nerdy. They love putting nerdy shows like Game of Thrones, like Mandalorian. Again, Mandalorian is a little bit shorter, 30 minutes an episode, but that was in the drama category. So
I see what you're saying, but like when you look at laughs per minute in this show, it's like you're getting a punchline like every maybe fourth line.
yeah.
And while like the premise is very dramatic and action oriented, I don't know. I would be curious to see them nominate season 2 at the Emmys next year. Because to me, and sound off in the comments, let's open this up, you know. How would you categorize it? For me, it's comedy all the way, especially the way that they cast comedians to be in the show, you know, and I don't see something like Game of Thrones or Mandalorian in the same way, where like those are very much like brooding meditations on like human characters trying to, you know, make political moves versus like eagerly, you know, like
Right.
just like how is a show where Kung Fu Bulbasaur and Eagly and Michael Rooker as Captain Cultural Appropriation, how is that falling into the drama category? I just don't see it.
Not true. True. Very good. Very true points. Very good points. Yeah, let us know in the comments what you would put them down below as well. And let us know what you're rooting for this year at the Emmys. Again, here at First Cut, Studio all the way, Severance all the way.
Yup.
I like Penguin a lot, so that's probably where I'm going to be at in terms of my picks. But
And I'd like to thank Sal Saperstein, of course, for making it all possible.
Exactly, South Saperstein to go. One more quick thing before we dip. We did have comments from last week's episode. Thank you everybody for commenting on our episode last week. We had a few comments here from, first of all, we had Dr. Wardrobe 2383 who said, you know, the title of the episode was, you know, are they making Suicide Squad canon? Is that, you know, because they mentioned June from the first Suicide Squad. Dr. Wardrobe said no, but Rick Flag is with June in the DCU, so like a different version. Making Suicide Squad canon makes Ben Affleck canon, and also that Superman died, because of course Superman died in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. It will be a tricky situation. But like you said, they just nitpick. I feel like Gunn's just nitpicking what he likes and doesn't like from the previous universe.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely follow this commenter's logic, and it's definitely airtight. But at the same time, it's like in a world where like multiverses are introduced in the first episode, and
Right.
it's like a hard reset. It's like you kind of have to just detach from those things, and I think, you know, for me as somebody who wasn't a big fan of those original films, I'm happy to just jump on the train where it's at.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, this is a good place to jump on. Another comment from Joseph Ashley said, hardcore hugging puppies seems more like softcore. There we go.
Hey!
Yeah. Soft court.
No, that's
like
definitely comment of the week, like right there.
And he also said, in this dimension, I noticed he doesn't have Eagly. Unless that's the gamble, he gets everything he wants except for Eagly. That's a good gamble. I mean, that's a
Yeah,
good...
and I mean, I don't think it's just Eagly too. I think it's, you know, Adebayo and Adrian and
right.
And Economos too. You know, like he's literally has to pick his like chosen family versus his actual family.
Right. That's the ultimate question. He has to make that choice, and then his chosen family has to choose whether to rat him out or not. We're gonna see. You know, John Economos, he's doing a pretty good job neglecting that, but see where Hardcore lands in this whole situation.
Yeah, and to that point, it sucks because they're all over here in this reality, literally fighting to save his life, and he's ready to jump ship for like ghosts, basically.
Right. Ghost, potentially Nazi ghost, you know?
Nazi ghost, yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's really a lot to see. It's a lot to see. It's a lot to break down. I'm excited to see where it goes forward. And I just want to read one more comment. I actually missed this a couple weeks ago. This is actually from our episode 1 recap. It's from a friend of the show, Parker Huseby. Shout out Parker. Shout out brother man.
That's the Keith to my Chris.
there we go. The live version. Yeah, no, Parker said, bro, Nathan Fillion gets me every time. As someone who's dipped in and out of season 1 and consistent watcher, I feel like the brother and dad from this new dimension, how they're looking at Peacemaker like, is something wrong? LMFAO. But also the first time he walked into News Dad's library, I was gagged down. Yeah, the boys opened the door for raunchiness, but James Gunn brings heart to it and perfects it by focusing in on the characters, not just the bit of the crazy environment. So
that's facts.
That's facts. Yeah. It's facts. Gunn's doing it, man. Gunn's killing it. And it's great times, y'all. Make sure y'all comment and show some love, show some support all across the board on this episode. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe if you haven't subscribed already.
Yeah, if you have friends who you watch Peacemaker with on a week by week, like me and Rob, share this with them too, so you guys can talk about the things that we discussed and see. Comment down below. Give us your opinions on the Emmys. Give us your opinions on comedy versus drama. Right. And also, I want to hear everyone's takes on Michael Rooker's possible interdimensional superpowers. Is that real or is that up for interpretation?
Yeah, no, we need those questions answered. Let us know in the comments down below. That being said, though, this feels like a good place to cap off our Podmaker episode 4, season 2, episode 4 recap of Peacemaker. So,
yes. Rob, where can people find you on social media?
Come along, children.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Director RB3, and follow First Cut at First Cut TMO on everything.
Period. You can find me everywhere at Cade Huseby. Check out Quarter Life Crisis on TikTok, on Instagram, Quarter Life Crisis Movie, and we'll see you guys next week. Making peace by any means necessary.
Yeah, see y'all later on the Podmaker. Peace.
Only one can remain. It's either me or you. Only one can remain. It's either me or you. Take you out the equation. It's either me or you.